Hello everybody, and welcome back to another B1 review. Today we will be looking at Transformers Age of the Primes, the 13 Onyx Prime Voyager class. And first and foremost, we can take a look at the box. And you can see here we've just got the steps and modes and stuff. You've got name and nice artwork there. This side you've got another nice artwork. You've got another nice artwork of his other alt mode. Got some product shots right here. You can see his weapon there. Some words. On the bottom, you've just got words and stuff. And his name, Takaratomi. Again, artworks there. But there we have his box. And now, here is the figure himself, and we can just take a nice look at his face there. He's got some nice gold for that, like, beast, like, beak helmet thing. He's got 4 eyes. Nice silver for the face there. See, all down with some nice random pops of silver and gold and stuff. Looking good. You can see his wings. All nice there. His back's a little bit but still cool. He's got like some weird veins there on his wings. But there you have that. Now for some comparisons. First up, we can do a bit of a strange one, but Power of the Primes Alpha Trion. I mean, it's a bit of an older figure, but technically a Prime, so thought, why not? Now, for a deluxe, we've got Warpath here. Now, for something else, we've got the other 2 primes, or well, that I own at least. We've got Alchemist and Prima. You can see them by their brother. And I will be reviewing these 2 soon, hopefully. But there you have that. And now for the closest thing I could find to a G1 Precious, we have Power of the Primes Onyx Prime right here, beside his newest counterpart right there. You can even have him hold his other self like that, or well, yeah, there you go. Or in his, whatever that mode is, like that. You probably even hold the full Onyx Matrix, but I don't have that part right now. Well, I guess that's him saying, time to move on. Now we can do some articulation. First up, his head. It is on a ball joint and a hinge, so he can look side to side. If you fiddle around with it a little bit, you can do a full 360. He can look up all the way. Pretty much no downward movement, like, at all. Right there. His wings, they are on a hinge right here, so they can flap like that. Weirdly, they're on a hinge like that, and his wings can splay out like that. The hinge is pretty much where these golden things are. And there you have him with his wings, and I totally love this look. Him with full-on wings like that. Looking cool. But next up, we've got his arms. You can move the shoulder pad like that. Do a full 360. If you move that out of the way, his arm can go out that much, and you have to bend the elbow, because if you have it completely straight, then it'll stop a bit sooner, I think. His elbow is, I'd say, probably 90 degrees. It also spins there on a mushroom peg. His hands are on a wrist swivel, and his hands can open and close. Now, if you move that out of the way, he can have a butterfly joint, which is always nice when a figure has a butterfly joint. Now, his waist, sadly no ab crunch, but he can do a full 360 at the waist, like that. Here, he can do full splits and then some. This can move out of the way, and he can do kind of a high kick and a back kick. And you've got a thigh swivel right there. Now, his knees are a bit weird because they've got, like, the double-jointed, like, horse leg thing. But it can straighten out all the way, kind of get a running. But if you want to, after some clicking points, it can go backwards a bit, like that. But that's technically for transformation. But you can do that. Ankle tiltage is good, and his heel spurs can flip in if you want that look. He can do some decent posing. But there you have his articulation. Now, for his accessories, first up we have his tail, which I know doesn't really look like it, but this is a tail, yes. Kind of just looks like a black piece of plastic. But what they want you to do is flip that up, and there's a tab on his butt that you will just, or a slot that you will tab that into. And they want it to look something like that. And I do think that looks cool, but something I prefer to do to make it look even better is if you just take that off, spin it around, there is another slot there for the tab. You can just plug it into there, and instead of flipping it down all the way, because then that looks weird, you just leave it up like that, and it kind of is coming from his back, but it makes it look more so like it's going, like it's flowing and going back instead of just straight down. And it also technically gives you some movement there, and I just like that look a lot better. But there you have that, and now for his main weapon, we have his spear, staff, arrow thing, which is pretty basic. It is just a gray handle, brown soft plastic tip because of safety stuff. There's some nice gold on this side, but it's just blank on the other side. And then here you've got his prime insignia, like that. And it is 2 pieces, so you can take that off. And that. But as weapons were meant to be, he can hold it. You can either slide it into his hand like that, or if you want to do it quicker, you can just open his hand. And because the only connection point is really at the thumb, then you can just kind of click it into place like a Lego minifigure's hand. You can do that. And if you want to, for some reason, you can. There's a slot on his fingers that can just tab in and do that for a reason you might want. I don't know. But something else you can do is, if you want, you can get him into like a, I'm not going to fiddle with it too much, but you can get him into a pretty basic spear throwing stance. Look at that, back into his hand. And you can either do like a normal spear throw, or if you want, you can take a blast parts effect and put it on the, like the spike there on the bottom of the spear. Now be aware, it will most likely stretch this part of the the bluish effect, because it does have to go over it a bit, but you can have like a jet powered, or just to show like how fast it's going or something. You can do that. So technically his spear is bluish compatible, but there you have that. And if you want to store this, you have a few ways. You can have his wings out and down like that, and it can just... Things are falling, because why not? Sorry about that. But you can take that and just tab it in to his wing. And if you want it to be better and have and make sure it's 100%, and you could take that off and tab that into there, and so it's not really very or as present at the top, but you can clearly see it there. You can do that, or you can do a connection for one of his other modes. You can take that and lift it up and leave it like this, and just in that little gap there, have the top of that rest, and just tab it into the top of that there, fold that back down as much as you can, and then there you go. You can just fold those back if you want, and then it's pretty nice storage, kind of out of sight, but I like to have him actually hold his weapon. I'm going to try and fix that real quick. That's good. But now we can get into his transformation. First, you just want to take his weapon off and put that off to the side. Same with his tail. Now, normally people go into his centaur mode first, and then into his, like, dragon thing mode. But for the course of, like, easiness and stuff, I'm going to do it the opposite way and go into dragon and then centaur mode, because I think it's just easier and better that way. But first off, what you want to do is you want to take his face, and you just grab on each end of his head, and it will fold up like that. And then just fold it back into that little cavity right behind his head. Take his little like chest panel there and flip it up over his face. And you can just leave that for now. Now you just fold his arms up and his wrists around. Open the hands up all the way as much as it will go. Like that. You can bend the arms if you want. Now for these, you want to, they don't really tab in, they kind of just rest, but you want to take them and pretty much, instead of fully taking them out, you want to like twist them that way, and then there's like a hook clip thing that will hold it there, and then you fold it back up, and there is a tab slot connection there at his chest. Now you want to do the same for the other side, and you can even do that in robot mode if you want to have like a more angled and solid look, but they just have it like that for beast mode. Now you want to flip up the crotch flap and fold the legs down, pretty much just have them on all fours like that, and flip in the heel spurs. And then you can take the legs, and they will thoop twice and collapse all the way up like that. Do that with both sides, and then you have got him like that on all fours. Fold the wings down, and then his head just goes down. There is a tab slot connection, but mine doesn't like to stay fully, so it can kind of just rest there. And fold out the wings, have it all positioned as you want, and then the last step is just take his tail, flip that up, and pretty much just like I had it in robot mode, you just put it like that, and there you go. There you have his, like, alien dragon mode thing, and I am a big fan of this mode when it's like this. I think it is awesome, especially that beast mode head, the nice big old red eyes and the like 3 horns on the back and all the spikes and everything. I'm a big fan of this look. It is a bit, I mean, it's pretty much classic beast former, pretty much just him on all fours with a different head and a tail, but still cool. You know, the first beast former, or I'm pretty sure the beast former ever, Onyx Prime. And now for articulation for Urwal. We can look at some details. Everything's pretty much the exact same, except he has a new head, and this is up front there. He's got some nice silver teeth up front. Some nice golden spikes there as well. Nice big old red eyes and a gold highlight there. Again, wings are, well, you can kind of see this down there now as well. But there you have that. Now for articulation, everything is pretty much the same. I mean, this just robot mode legs and arms. You can do whatever you want. With that, wings are the same as well. Now, the only real different articulation is his head is just on a ball joint, and there is a slight hinge there for beast mode where it can look side to side a bit, like that. It can look down, it can look straight up. You can do full, well, if you move the wing, you can do a full 360. It is on a ball joint, and then the mouth can open really wide. And it can hinge up like that if you want, but then it just breaks his neck. But there you have his beast mode. Now for storage for the weapon. The way they have you do it is just tab it onto his back like that. I mean, it's alright storage. It's just big old spike on his back. You can also plug it into the wings, but with them folded out like this, it doesn't really work because the spikes get in the way. But that's really the only way to store it. I haven't really tried this at all, but I've thought about it. If you take it back to being a spear. Jaw strength and how heavy the front is, I mean, not very successfully, but he can kind of hold a spear in his mouth like that if you want for whatever reason. I'll just put that back off to the side. And there you have his dragon mode, or well, this form of it. There is another way you can do it, which if you want to do that, you just fold the wings back out of the way for clearance. This wing does not like to stay on because it's just on like a friction clip thing. But what you want to do is take the legs here that are on his chest and untab them and fold them up and out like that. Now you want to fold the arms down like this and hinge that like that all the way down, and then undo the shoulder pad. Then bicep rotation like that, and you'll just leave that as is. Then the other legs will go and fold down and just flip around like that. And then you can take these and collapse them in all the way and just try and get everything situated if you can with all 6 of his legs, because it can be a bit annoying sometimes with balance and everything being different lengths. So it can be a bit difficult having everything in the right spot sometimes, which can get a little annoying, but just get it at. And I mean, front legs aren't on the ground at all, but still, there you go. There you have his 6-legged, even more alien dragon mode, which I think it still looks cool. I mean, it's a dragon, so of course it's going to look cool. But it's just this. It makes the chest smaller, and it looks a bit weirder because it's all, like, squished in. And then these legs, I mean, they're legs. If you want articulation for this, then it can. I mean, this can move. That's for transformation. That wasn't intended. Now, you do have to have these, like, back all the way as you can, because if you don't, then that will very uneasily unthoop out of place. But this, it can go forward. That doesn't really move too much, and then butterfly joint. And then these will just hinge all the way up, outward, and back a little bit. If you want, you can fully straighten it out. And then this moves like so. And everything else is pretty much the same. The only real extra detail now is just an extra leg, or 2 extra legs, actually. But I do still really like this mode. Storage for the weapon is the same. But there you have him in his dragon mode. Even though he is a dragon, he can still do a spin. But now we can transform him again. You want to detach the tail again. And you just want to fold the wing, or the head, back all the way again. Or, well, pretty much have it up straight like that. And then the wings do the same. Then take this whole body structure and on that hinge there, just fold it out like so. Take the arms and fold them back down. Fold them out like there would be in robot mode. Like so. Then fully extend these front legs. And instead of fully extending these, there is, in between fully crunched and fully stretched out, there is a spot where they're both locked in and thooped into place, like so. Make sure it's all balanced and the same. Then fold this back, fold his head back up, and leave the face flipped down, because that is how you're supposed to do that. And if you want to, you can take the tail and put it back on the figure, like so, to give him his centaur tail. Then wings fold back out, and then this, you just have it down as much as it can. But there you go, there is his centaur mode. And I am a big fan of centaurs. I just think they're cool with how it is, especially when it has wings. And I just like this character in general. Now, the legs are kind of locked into place back here, but you can still unthoop it and still move it around. Then these, just fold that forward, and you can get a lot of movement out of the front legs. And once again, everything else is the same. But now, we can get a closer look at his face. And it is supposed to look like some weird beast face, kind of. That's why he has 4 eyes, now he only has 2. And he's got the beak with the weird jaw down there, which I think that is a very cool look. Now, if you want, you can do that, like classic, like centaur, or I guess horse still, thing, like that. Now, if you want to have the head looking forward instead of up like that, since you can't really look down, you will have to bend that forward a bit more to, I mean, it'll look like he's just standing up, kind of, but you can still do the, like, horse kicking thing. Now, just folding everything back down, like that. And boom. Now, of course, he can still hold his weapon normally in this mode, but you can still do this in robot mode. But what they want you to do is, instead of giving him a tail, you just rip that off of there, and you want to start from the tip of the tail, use your fingernail to get in between the two sides. If I actually can, because I don't have fingernails. But you just want to split the tail in half and fold it all the way out. It will kind of thud into place like that. And now you have a bow for Onyx Prime. And as you can see, if you aren't counting the wings, his bow is actually taller than him by his head. So you know he means business when he has a bow larger than him. But you can just take that little tab there and slot it into his fingers and close it all the way, and it'll just rest like that. And you can take it like there. And unfortunately, it does pretty much have to be a left-handed bow, because if you put it on the right, then this will be on the bottom end of it. But you just want to do that. And now his arrow, like I was saying, is his giant staff there. You just pick it into place. You can have his hand resting on there, like he's drawing back and about to shoot. But there you go. Now, Centaur has a giant bow. You make it look like he's shooting some enemies or something. Or I guess friendlies, because I'm pretty sure Onyx Prime is supposed to be a bad guy. I'm not completely settled on the lore of this guy. But there you have that. And of course, storage for this is the same as the other modes. And I am a big fan of this figure. Just take it off to the side. Now, something that I have found is he has these, like, weird tabs on his shoulders. And I don't know why. Because this, I mean, it'd be weird, but it doesn't friction on there, like, at all. The bow as well, I mean, no friction whatsoever. I don't really know, but something else I noticed is on the bottom of his hoof there, he does have a slot there, and I don't know if that's just how it was molded or something, but he does have that. I have not found a way to connect them, but who knows, maybe there's something there, I don't know, or just something that we haven't realized that is supposed to be obvious, but he has those for some reason. And now we can just quickly revert him back into robot mode. If you want, you can flip those back out, fully outstretch his legs, and then compress them before they thud. Straighten the legs out, and take these like so. Just take that whole body section and fold it back up until it thoops into place. And I do want to show something kind of funny that I came up with, is instead of fully folding those back, you just have him with like 4 arms, like that, if you want. I just kind of find that funny and kind of cool. Give him like he can kind of look like Amalgamus if he wants to. But something else I also like to do is those tabs also fit like perfectly for these weapons. So you can give him a spear in one hand there, or one hoof. And then this, if you want, you can also tab that into his hoof there. Also give him like a giant like claw looking thing if you want, or treat it as like a double-sided sword. You can do that. And then for these hands, you can just take, I don't know, something like Scourge's blade, split in half, and then boom, and boom. He can have, if I can actually get his bow to go back into his hand. boom, he can have, like, you can have 4 weapons, 1 for each arm, if you want. Keep in mind, these 2 do not come with the figure. I'll remind you guys of that now, so that there's no mix-up at all. But you can do that if you want. Like I said, I don't know if there's any connection whatsoever to the random tabs in the hooves and the random slots there and the random tabs on his shoulder. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. I doubt it, but could be something. But there you have him in that random mode. You can just take off all of his weapons, leave him unarmed, and just quickly put him back to normal. And like I said, for this mode, instead of having it like that, they want you to have it fully straightened out, like so. Then fold it down, put his face back to normal, give him his wings, and there you have it. There you have Onyx Prime. There was my review of him, and I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and hopefully you can come back for the next one, where I will hopefully be reviewing, I think Prima Prime will be next. But there you have Onyx Prime, the first of the 13 primes for me, and hopefully I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and a comment down below. And thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.